Today is patch day for Marvel Snap, which means we get brand new data mines. We now have information that shows us every new card releasing between now and July. Let's take a look at all 33 cards releasing in the future of Marvel Snap. Okay, so as a way of a quick recap, here is the season that's going to be launching later today, the April X-Men End of Days season. There basically looks the same as when we data mined it. A couple things to note is that we have confirmation that Deadpool's Diner and Grand Arena are the two game modes that are coming out, and Storm has been changed just from a 3-2 to a 3-1. Otherwise, this was all officially announced, so you refer back to those announcements, look at this graphic here, but this is what we're going to be looking forward to for this season's 8 cards coming up. Coming out next month in May is our long-awaited Daredevil season, Daredevil Crimson Twilight. Now, I'm especially excited for this one because Daredevil is something that I really like in the comics. Like I like the lore, I like the characters, and so I've been really excited to play these cards ever since I saw them data mined, right? So a few things have changed. They've moved Karen Page card from the last week of the month to the first week, and in doing so, have kind of shifted down the rest of the Series 5 cards. My guess as to why they did this is because the finale for the Daredevil season is the same day. So I think they're trying to move the characters that are actually in the show to be that first week. So we have Daredevil, Wilson Fisk, and Karen Page together, and they move down everything else just to accommodate that. No clue yet as to what the game modes are going to be, but we will have 2 cards. You can see Akari and Stick. Everyone's got base art now. Everyone's got what I believe to be their final abilities. Like always with data mines, things could change last minute, but generally once we get this kind of far in, not much does. So stat lines, abilities, and dates all here. And in June, we're going to have our Marvel Beach Bash season. So this one is the one that we've probably got the most changes to recently. You can see not only have they changed stat lines, but they've actually changed abilities on a couple things and even added some more cards. So let's break this down real quick here. Looks like Venus has gone from a 3-4 into a 3-3. And the Submariner has been made into a 1-2, presumably to kind of synergize with his own ability a bit better. Since whenever he's boosted, he adds a random 1-cost character to your hand, you could probably just proc another Submariner and keep flooding the board with his own self, right? The biggest change is to Namorita. She used to be a card that doubled the next ongoing that you played. Now she's got a completely different stat line ability. She's now a 3-5 that says when you draw a card, -1 cost if this is your only card here. So it looks like they want to kind of pair this up with the new Jubilee from the same season. So when you draw a card, it's going to, give it that boost as well as give it that -1 cost. It also seems to be thematically tying into other older cards of this theme, being the only one in that location. So Namor and Orca get bonus power. She is instead reducing cost of things you draw. The next big thing that I see on the season is that we've got Series 4 cards in it finally. So last time we only had 6 cards when we data mined this. Now we have all 8. It looks like that's probably, judging from what I'm going to see coming up with the season data mine today, it looks like that's going to be the thing that we see now is that we'll get like 6 cards at once, and then we'll get them figuring out the season 4 cards later. Triton hasn't officially given a date, and we were able to see that before on Snapfan, but it didn't actually have a date on it, so we didn't really talk about it. So Triton's a 3-4. It now says on reveal boost +3, the last character played by each player last turn instead of +4. The big one, though, is Quicksand. Quicksand's a 2-4. The next time your opponent would start a turn with bonus energy, they don't get it. We're finally getting the tech card for maximum energy. I know, especially with the last couple seasons with Star-Lord being so prevalent, there's been a renewed ask for can we have a card that stops max energy? And it looks like Second Dinner's answer to that is going to be yes. We're going to have to wait a bit though. It's not going to be till June, but it looks like they're doing it with a pretty competitive stat line as well. Like 2-4 is not to mess around. It's going to be easy to play, and it's going to be there to keep your opponent from going too crazy. But now, let's talk about what we're all here to talk about today. The stuff that was data mined new and fresh. We're looking at July now, so a few months out still. But as anyone that's been following data mines is aware, this is the big one. This is for Spider-Man Brand New Day. Our first card here actually has no art yet, but we do have stats and abilities. So let's start with this. It's Spider-Man Brand New Day. He says movable twice. After this moves, Give one of your other cards at the new location +1 power, even unrevealed ones. A couple things to break down here. They've keyworded the old standby, the familiar, you can move this card to just movable. This means that, like Nightcrawler and Jeff before him, you can just move it to another location, and it looks like you can do it twice, because that's what it says, right? And when it does move, it's going to be buffing cards in that new location. Not the one that you left from, but the one that you're into. Even unrevealed ones, it says. Not many cards affect face down cards. So this is the kind of thing that you can do, let's say a combo with, you play Brood and then move this, because moves happen at the beginning of the turn. It will give that +1 power to Brood before it flips up and on reveals. Since you can move Spider-Man twice, this is effectively a 1/8 in power if you're moving into full locations, right? Because you need to have three spots and three filled spots and then an empty one for him to move into. All in all, for a season pass card, that's pretty good, right? Like, it's been a while since we had like a new one cost, especially a new one cost scaler. So I'm interested to see what they do with this, to see if this is like his final stat line, his ability. I was speculating that Spider-Man would just be Vision at like a different stat line. I thought it was just going to be you can move this card, but I think the movable twice is going to be virtually the same. You're not going to really need to move this every turn, just on key turns when you filled up locations, and more importantly, to get Spider-Man out of locations, right? Like if you're playing him on stuff like Hope Summers, and you're filling up that location, you want to move it out so you can continue to make more space. Looks like it's going to be a pretty interesting one to me. Next up, we have Mary Jane. I'll just have a variant for her, no base art, but she's a 3/3. End of turn, boost each of your cards that move this turn with +1 power. So this is very clearly supposed to synergize with Spider-Man, right? Any of all these spider cards are basically stuff that want to move around a lot. So having Mary Jane on the board means every turn, all of them, anything that moves is going to get +1 power. That stacks up every turn. It's not just one card. So if you happen to move 3 cards in a turn, all 3 of them are going to get +1 power. After playing Heimdall on the last turn, you're going to slide your whole board over. All of them are going to get +1 power. I think it's pretty interesting. I'm not sure about the 3 cost on this. Like, I would like her to be cheaper, right? The sooner you can get it out, the better. But this is probably a more fair line. It reminds me a lot of Hydra Stomper, right? Hydra Stomper is another 3 that gets +1 for everything that moves, but this is spreading out that power instead of consolidating on itself. So we'll see which one is more valuable for these move decks, right? Also coming out that week is Aunt May. Now, this is one of those cases where we don't actually have all the information for. We just have this variant art, no stats, no ability, nothing to go off of here. We can't even tell yet if it's supposed to be the premium pass card or just the regular Series 5 release. Like, we don't know. So from a pure speculative point, I'm guessing that she's probably going to have something to do with her location, right? So we know the Aunt May location is the one of the next card you play. It gets +3 power and moves to another location. So I'm thinking she might have an honor reveal that does that similar thing, where it's just like, okay, the next time you play a card, it gets a boost and moves. Maybe that's what she does, or she could be something completely different. Maybe she has nothing to do with moving, right? Like, as odd as it would be for a Spider-Man card to not have anything to do with moving, maybe she just does boosting in a different other way, or supports the board with something else. Maybe it's similar to Uncle Ben, where she has to be destroyed to do something. That'd be cool. I just don't think it'd be the exact same card where you destroy Aunt May and also get Spider-Man. I don't think they would make 2 cards that would do the exact same thing. After Aunt May is Tarantula. So Tarantula is a 2/1. End of turn, if you have the highest power card, boost this and 2 cards in hand with +1 power. So as long as you control the highest power card on the board, you're going to increase the power of this and 2 cards in your hand by 1. So it's going to scale up every turn. This is an end of turn card. It is a 2 cost itself, so you're getting it very early on the board. I kind of like this. I think that this is like doing what a lot of things I want a scaler to do, which is just be easy to play and to proc all the time. Having the highest power card is not, I would say, hard. Like, if you're building for it, if you know exactly what you're doing in your deck building, like this synergizes with stuff like Iron Patriot, which wants you to be winning the locations early. It synergizes with Ascani's Son, which also wants you to be winning locations, right? So as long as you're doing things like that, this could kind of slot in there to continue to increase the power of your deck. This also goes with another Datamine card, Wilson Fisk, that we don't have yet. but at the time the tarantula releases, we will have, where it's, it reduces the self cost if you also control the highest power card. So it looks like they're kind of doing some. I think they're linking together villains with like highest power. So if you think of Tarantula, Wilson Fisk, Iron Patriot, like it looks like there's this kind of mini theme happening here. So I guess the idea is that the more aggressive you are sooner, rather than holding everything till turn 6, the more bonuses you get. Tarantula specifically also seems to synergize with this next card, Boomerang. So Boomerang is a 2/1. When this returns to your hand, randomly steal 4 power from cards in your opponent's hand. And then activate, return this to your hand. So Boomerang is going to be increasing in power every time it returns to your hand, which is kind of cool, right? It's like an actual boomerang. When you throw it, it comes back to your hand. But not only can he activate and do that himself, cards like Beast and Toxin are going to be things that return it back to your hand, to keep stealing power out of your opponent's hand and give it to him. It's not even just afflicting, it's stealing. Like, this is a 2 cost that's going to get huge. Even just from doing this once, you're going to have a 2/5. And that's even before we talk about, the synergies, right? Bounce him himself with his own activate, then play McCann and play Beast. Suddenly now he's a 2/9. Or actually, with Beast, he'd be a 1/9, right? Like, so you can see where this card's going to get pretty outrageous. It also synergizes with the location, not the bar with no name. The other bar, I forget what it's called, but the one that bounces a card back to your hand, right? It's a thematic tie because that location in comics is where Boomerang and these kind of street level villains like to hang out. I like this one. This one seems like it's going to be a menace. The next one, we again have no art for this one. It is Scorpion Brand New Day. This one is a new finisher for Affliction decks. It's a 6/7 ongoing, double the afflictions on all enemy cards. So basically, it's going to be the kind of card where you've done a bunch of afflicting, you've maybe done a hazmat early, you've done stuff like Laufey to steal, or even Boomerang's been stealing power out of your opponent's hand all game. Then you on your final turn you play Scorpion and everything has been doubled. So it's not only just a 6/7, but it's going to be a really big 6. It's going to be kind of like a board wide blob or a board wide Galactus First Steps. You can think of it that way. Like, this card is not just going to be representing 7 power. He's going to be representing upwards of like 10 plus, 15 plus even, I can see. Especially because it's only afflicting enemy cards. Like, it's only doubling the afflictions on enemy cards. If you do a hazmat that board wide hits all the stuff, it's not going to worry about your things. I don't know if this is what affliction decks needed. Their big play has usually been something involving Ajax or final turn Luke Cage and another card. So I don't know if they have room for a 6, but if they do, this is probably what they're going to want to be playing. Our last card with an official, Datamine, quote unquote, date is Sinister Six. Now, no text, no abilities on this, nothing, no even art. We just a date that it's the last S5 of the month, right? Pure speculation time, right? So my thoughts, maybe it's going to be kind of like Major Victory, which adds Guardian's Cruise to your hand. This might be a way that they kind of batch together Spidey villains or street level villains or something. And maybe it just randomly creates 1 or 2, or use the abilities of them or something, right? They can go nuts with this. I'm not thrilled about a whole card being a team. Like, I would have much rather them done like Sinister Six as a team clash team than to have it as its own generic card. A couple more cards to round us out here. These ones don't have a set date, but they very much well can be our Series 4 cards for July's month. We noticed with the June Beach Bash month, we didn't get the Series 4 cards right away. They were added this patch. It's possible something is going on with that too. Here's Tombstone. This has been data mined for a long time now. I think at least a year and a half, maybe even more. It's been re-updated, so that's how we know cards are coming out sooner rather than later. It's now a 2/3. On reveal, destroy your lowest power card at each other location. This is going to be, I think, really good now. Like, I really like this. It synergizes with Muse, which we have coming up in May, that gets power for every location you've destroyed a card in. This can be an easy way to help destroy a Deadpool early because it costs 2 himself, right? I'm really thinking this is going to be a really cool one to see coming. And then we have J. Jonah Jameson. So this one has been in the data mines for, I think, since like the beta release of the game, but before I was playing, that's for sure. Definitely before I was involved in any kind of content. But it's been updated to be a 1/3. I think this happened last patch, but the reason I'm talking about it now is because we have, the spider season coming. So I can definitely see this coming out soon. The ability, your text emotes are ruder, doesn't really do anything. this hasn't really changed. Like this doesn't do anything gameplay wise, right? Like who cares what the emotes say, the text ones, right? The things that are of note of this is that it's an ongoing card and it costs one and has three power, right? So like it's a target for your Spectrum decks for Aurora. Like it's just a cheap ongoing that you can play early for things that scale with the amount of ongoings like Goliath. Like it's got hooks, but I don't see it being like particularly amazing. Hence why we're getting it, as Series 4, right? Okay, so this is the July, right? So as you can see, it looks pretty bare compared to other of the graphics that show off these seasons. We're missing a lot of art. We're missing a lot of abilities. I think this is due to us being so far out in terms of data mines, right? Like we're only in April, right? Like we're about to start the April season today, and we're talking about cards coming out in July. So I think like the further out we go, the less information we're gonna have. So we're gonna have to stay tuned to see like if anything of these changes, if anything's get updated. But this is what the Spider-Man Brand New Day season is going to look like currently. Special shout out to Snap.fan for these data mines. I've covered all the new cards that are coming out, but if you're looking for stuff like variants and bundles and game mode information, be sure to check them out. They're who's going to have all that info for you. Let me know down below what stuff you're excited for. Which season looks the most interesting to you? Which new card is going to be totally broken and definitely change before we get it? Like, comment. It really helps me figure out what kind of content you guys are looking forward to from me. Until then, I'll see you guys next time. Thank you.